All right, a very good evening, YouTube from Captain Nabs. I'm here with you once again, and we are getting ourselves all set up for another night of some ATC here on the VATSIM network. So sit tight, and we're going to just get ourselves organized here. Today we are on Winnipeg Center. So as promised, we are going to be on Winnipeg Center. It's going to be a pretty, hopefully a pretty fun evening here. I'm just going to get ourselves all set up here. So just give me a couple minutes while I just get everything organized here. We're going to make sure we have weather for Winnipeg. And why do I not see? There we are. I had to do some reinstalls, so a lot of this stuff is sort of just in weird places all over the screen, and I've got to kind of fix a few things here. So bear with me just while I get this all organized. And let's see, Winnipeg is kind of favoring. We'll do runway 36. It's kind of favoring 31 a little bit, but especially given the time of the evening, 36 would be the preferred approach runway. So since the winds are fairly strong, but we'll go with 36 here. And actually, what am I doing here? Give me 1 second. Just gotta get my ATC set up here. Alright, we're going to go with 3-1 because it's a fairly strong wind, so that'll put them really into the wind, and then anyone who wants it can have 3-6. Alright, we did get a handoff. I'm not sure if my audio is not working here or not. It wouldn't be the first time. Alright, let me just see if I can set this up correctly here, because I have it set up properly on my other computer, but I don't have it set up on this one. Oh, always the way. It never wants to work out properly the first time you try to do it here. Alright, just trying to make sure that I have everything set up the way I want it here. I'm not sure I do, because I realized last time that I have a real echo going on in the background of my stream here, so I really want to try and fix that if I can. Alright, so we got this guy here is going to CYRT, which is Resolute Bay, I believe. And then we got this Air Canada 306. We got to get this guy over here. We got so much stuff. It's very... I feel like this is not organized properly. No, this is not organized properly at all. We may have to just come back in about 2 minutes here. I may have to just fix something here and come back in about 2 minutes. So let me just... I'll be right back. Okay, guys, sorry about that. Yeah, so what happened was I had some technical issues over the weekend, so I had reset a lot of stuff, which unfortunately is exactly what happened here. Everything went back to a kind of a reset state. So we're gonna have to just make sure that all the settings are in there. I had to rerun the update because it was, yeah, I had some problems over the weekend. Unfortunately, across the pond was not good to me, and it required a whole reset of everything I had. So. This guy we should have here. Alright, so that's a little better. We've got
314,
Air Canada 314, Winnipeg, good evening. Squawk it in.
Winnipeg, hello, Air Canada 306, flight level 350.
Air Canada 314 Heavy, thank you. You're identified flight level 390, welcome. And Air Canada 306, Winnipeg, good evening. Squawk a new code for me, please. 0652.
0652, coming up Air Canada 306.
Alright, so I think we got it all worked out again here. And again, like I said, I apologize. It's going to be a little bit tinny for now. I'm going to try my best to see if I can make this work a little better so that you don't get as much background noise here. So I think that should do that. And then hopefully that should be able to Alright, so hopefully that'll work. I don't know if that'll work or not. If it doesn't, I can try other things too. Just trying to reduce that kind of tinny output sound. So, but welcome to the channel, everybody, and for anybody that is watching so far. And we are going to have some ATC here in Winnipeg this evening. We don't have much going on yet. We got a couple of guys going around here. This is the guy, Nolanor 950 Alpha. Are you with Winnipeg Center? Never did get a hold of him. And then I got this guy VFR here at 370. I'm going to have to check on him. Give me 1 second. Alright, just give me 1 second. I'm just going to chat with this guy here. Alright, and we should also make sure we do have, that's not what I need, make sure we also have the Winnipeg terminal and Winnipeg's ground, just in case as well. Why can't I find it? That's what I'm looking for. Okay, so I just wanted to ask Edmonton, because Edmonton takes control of this sector when we're not online. I wanted to ask him if he had been in contact with that aircraft, which he had not. So there we go. All right, so we got these two Air Canada flights transitioning And that's about it. So if anybody wants to fly, Winnipeg is now open for business. Hopefully we'll get some traffic in here. I know that some of you guys had said that you were going to try and fly into the stream, so that's why I really want to make sure it gets done. So please feel free to fly. If you're new, if you're one of those new people who's new and nervous in VATSIM, please feel free to come and fly. I've got a whole bunch of towered airports that I can provide some service to you. I've got Winnipeg, Thunder Bay, Regina, Saskatoon, and Moose Jaw, and I believe those are it. And then there's also Portage and St. Andrews as well in the Winnipeg area. So if you want to log into any of those fields and get some ATC service here on VATSIM, I will gladly provide some service to anybody who's nervous and inexperienced with this. And there's not a whole lot going on in my airspace right now, so I can be very patient with anybody who is nervous. So if you're new to VATSIM and you want to come and try it out, please come on down. Otherwise, we'll just hope to lure in some traffic here to Winnipeg. One thing is that I will say about Winnipeg is it does tend to be an FIR that sort of starts off very slow. A lot of people don't necessarily pick to go to it. I don't mean that in a bad way, but I just mean that people are not necessarily always thinking about it. But the second you pop online, it's still popular, and people will log on and start flying when they do see us online. So hopefully it shouldn't take us too long here to get some ATC service, or to get some traffic here. I mean, we got the ATC service, now we need the traffic. So what I was going to do here, I was going to do something here, and I've already forgotten what I was going to do. I wonder if that is the Canadian Express 855 way up there. That is Nordo. What was I going to try and do here? I was going to try and do something, and I've already forgotten what I was going to try and do. I just love that. And see, I'm sitting there talking to myself and trying to try and I was just going to pull up the map here because VATSPI is having some issues these days. So let's pull up the map and see if there's any kind of traffic indicated. And even the live map on SimAware is not properly up to date here. So there are some data update issues on VATSIM, which is not good when you're trying to lure people into a sector, because all the ways that people usually discover that people are online seem to be blocked. The feed is not working. So let's see here. La 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 la. So that's not that doesn't bode well for us, anyways. trying to learn some traffic when nothing's showing that we're online because all the things are not updating properly. Let's see here. See, there's no problems with any of the actual servers. AFV is running web services. Metar's data server. I don't believe the data server is very operational. It really isn't. They're showing it all operational, but it's not really working there.
Winnipeg Center, 950 Alpha, radio.
Nolan 950 Alpha, Winnipeg Center, good evening. Squawk ident, please. Even though he was already handed to us identified by Edmonton because he was in Edmonton's airspace, I don't feel confident in his position because it's been so long since he was handed to us. Nolan 950 Alpha, thank you. You're identified flight level 320, welcome. So he's about 45 minutes out of his destination. Let's see here. Alright, so the one thing I noticed is that these aircraft will pass through Minneapolis airspace. They're just going to slice a small corner. I'm probably not going to bother with a handoff, but that being said, Minneapolis Center, which is online right now, is planning to go offline in about 10 minutes. So, well, probably less than 10 minutes now. Now it's going to be about 5 minutes or so. So when that red line disappears, they can cross that border with impunity. And that's probably what we're going to let them do because they're just going to fly right out of our airspace and right back into it. So there's no point in changing frequencies. Let's see how long before they get out of our airspace here. So they got about an hour till they reach Thunder Bay, and then probably about 50 minutes after that before they reach the end of our airspace. Well, hopefully this gets resolved. Hopefully this VATSIM network outage here gets resolved soon, because otherwise we're not going to get too many. A Nordo CXA, you say? I'm not 100% sure that it is CXA because it's just got a flight plan target here, so I can't say to a certainty that that is CXA or not. It's purely hypothetical, and because I don't have updated network information, the network information is now about 40 minutes out of date, 30 minutes out of date, and counting. I can't be sure, but I think it is. Which is fine. I mean, you know, at the end of the day, like, I hopped onto some airspace, but that being said, within 30 minutes, this person should have at least noted that we're online and done and contacted us. If they don't know we're online within 30 minutes, then that's on them. So certainly I don't get mad when I first log on, and especially people en route, you know, in the middle of their flight, in the middle of like a large, fast space of uncontrolled airspace and cruise. I don't mind if they don't log on, if they're not at the keyboard at that time. But like I said, I do expect people to check every 30 minutes. And if I've pinged them and sent them a message that says, hey, please contact me, I expect within that 30 minutes to get a response. I think that's a pretty reasonable expectation. Now, while we're here, like I said, I did have to do a system reset, so there's a few things I want to tweak. I want to get rid of these runway numbers because they're just too big. Give me 1 second here. Let me find them. That should do it. There we go. Then you can actually read the rest of the stuff on the screen because those big runway numbers are just kind of hilarious. Yeah, using runway 31 in Winnipeg tonight, and that's not something you'd normally do. Well, it's not too late yet, but the preference is runway 36 because 31 flies right over downtown, so the preference would be runway 36, but with the winds being fairly strong here tonight, they're a good 30 knots, or 15 knots now. Actually, they're kind of dissipating, so I might switch soon. So I might switch soon, we'll see. But right now we're on to information. Bravo 320 at 15. What does the TAF say long term for Winnipeg? Because that, I think, will also determine whether or not it's worth changing. Unfortunately, there's just not much going on yet tonight. So if anybody's out there and they're looking for somewhere to fly, Winnipeg is wide open. Come on down. Get that good service. And this is another sector that's bigger than you think. You kind of look at it, you're like, oh, it's not that big. But all these circles here are 100 miles across, 120, 130 miles across. Like they're, I forget what they're supposed to be. I think they're supposed to be 65 miles. So I think they're supposed to be 130-mile circles. So they're, these are huge. These guys that are tracking through our airspace from west to east, they're going to be doing a good solid 800, almost 900 miles through the airspace here. Nolanor's got an hour till his, 45 minutes till he gets to his destination, 200 miles. So like it's a pretty large block of airspace. Not a whole lot of major airports. Most of these are uncontrolled airports. The only major ones are down here at the south end: Winnipeg, Thunder Bay, and then Regina, Saskatoon, and Moose Jaw, and that's it. So if you guys are looking for a place to fly, that's it. I wonder if there's a place to report network problems, because I feel like this has been happening a lot the last little while. This the data feed from VATSIM to the outside world keeps breaking, and so all the apps that run off this data feed then end up being quite out of date. It's been broken now for 45 minutes, and usually VATSIM's got pretty good network administration. They are usually pretty quick about noting network outages and fixing them. So I'm surprised that even if reaching the 45-minute mark here, it's not unheard of. It does happen from time to time, but just a little disappointing right now, because like I said, like the only way I can lure in traffic is by people knowing I'm here. And if they can't see you on the network monitors, then they have no idea that you're here. And Winnipeg is not an airport that people think of if they are not. If there's not ATC there. If it's ATC, I see lots of people come and log in, but if nobody knows there's ATC, it gets very quiet very quick, which makes this for a pretty uneventful sector, unfortunately. So I really would like the data feed to get fixed, because that would at least help get ourselves some better coverage. I just wonder. No, I'm surprised. Nothing. I don't even know where to report it, because you think they would have something. I mean, it's not the most important thing in the world, but it is going to have an impact on people. Let's see here. I'm pretty sure CYRT is Resolute Bay. Make sure I have the approaches ready to go for that, because sort of right on the borderline there between Winnipeg and Edmonton. Actually, I think it's just over the border, so I think we'll have to do the handoff. That's okay. Oh, it's not Resolute Bay. It's Rankin Inlet. RT is Rankin Inlet. My bad. I'm slowly learning these northern airports, but I'm not terribly familiar with them, so it's Rankin Inlet. Okay, never mind. Either way, it'll be a handoff eventually to Edmonton, I think, here. I wonder how people dealt with things like VATSIM before the age of the internet, because I really spend like a lot of my time researching stuff on on the internet, trying to find answers to questions, like between my charts and everything else, trying to look up online charts. I couldn't imagine trying to do this without having, you know, a multitude of different arrays of information, like charts that you can get your access to and answer questions really quickly and easily, and also becoming very well versed at just getting those answers. Cody says it's been up and down all day due to Cloudflare issues. Well, I guess there's nothing much we can do about that. Just annoying more than anything. I could just express my annoyance. Not much else I can do. But it's going to make it hard to lure in that traffic. So if anybody's looking for something to do, Winnipeg is open for business right now. I think Toronto Centre was online, but it looks like they've gone off. Minneapolis said he was leaving. He's still there, though. And then we got one little chunk of space here as well. So I don't know what's been happening since across the pond, but one thing I'll say is that you guys have really suddenly been talking up my channel since across the pond, or somebody has, because I checked my stats this morning, and I'm frankly shocked at how many subscribers I suddenly had. I went up by about 20 subscribers in the last like 3 or 4 days, which is not a lot for any of the big channels, but for me. Yeah. So yeah, as I was saying, I was looking at my statistics, and I'm surprised at just how many people subscribed. All of a sudden, some of these videos, especially the Cross the Pond video, which I was quite happy with the Cross the Pond video, but I'm amazed at how many views it's gotten since Cross the Pond. Like with the live stream, it got a lot of good views on Cross the Pond Day, but since then, a lot of people have been still going back to it and watching it. So if anybody's seen themselves in there, feel free to comment on it too, and I will. And I'll try to mark where anybody has got themselves in the video, and if you've got your own live stream video or video of your Cross the Pond crossing, then I'll go ahead and link to it as well. If you have it, if you spot where you are in the ATC videos, so please let me know in the comments, and I will add those cards for sure. Flying out of Northern Ontario for a while before COVID, and kept some traffic before the girlfriend arrives. Well, thank you, Flying Canuck. I could use the traffic because it's a little bit of a snooze right now, unfortunately. All right, so maybe we'll lure in at least one person. This is the funny thing about doing this stream as well, is that it gives me a little bit of an advertisement for the ATC as well, especially on these days where there's just not much happening. So he's going to get to Rankin Inlet. I think it's about 213, 214. So how far has he got to go still here? He's got about 180 miles. Okay. Oh, I guess Minneapolis did leave now. Their border's gone. They're closed now. I know we got lots of stuff going on in the Edmonton sector here as well. We got Center, but then we got Tower in Edmonton and Fort Mac. So. Goodbye. Nolan 950 Alpha. I have the Rankin Inlet weather from 0100 Zulu about 45 minutes ago. Do you want to wait to see the new sequence, or you want to copy that weather down for now? Nope, not listening. Everyone's falling asleep on this channel. Nolan 950 Alpha, Winnipeg. Oh, he wants text. All right. He wants to switch to text now, which is fine. Just ask him. Nolan 950 Alpha, Roger. The 0100 Zulu weather for Rankin Inlet. This is 45 minutes old now. Winds are showing 060 at 6 knots, 15 miles visibility, few clouds at 400 feet, broken at 3,700, broken at 27,000. Temperature -1 tree, dew point -16, altimeter 2984. And what I can do.
I have the 01000.
No, 950 Alpha, Roger. Now, why can't I? For some reason, it does not like Rankin Inlet, even though it's on there. Nope, it does not actually know that it's not listed as a valid point. Okay, so we could do it off the VOR here. So I can get the fix. There we go. So then I can have a constantly updated distance when he gets about 100 miles away.
Confirm runway 13 in use.
Nolanor 950 Alpha. Rankin Inlet is uncontrolled, so the arrival will be at your discretion.
Roger.
But I'll keep an eye out, and yeah, so when he gets to about 100 miles from Rankin Inlet, I can give his initial descent. So somewhere right around, no, I deleted it now, but somewhere right around there. There, got it back. All right, hey, look, we got something happening in Thunder Bay. Nice, nice. All right, very good. In which case, I may take down my ATIS in Winnipeg and put up an ATIS in Thunder Bay, because otherwise there's just not much happening. So he's going Thunder Bay, doing circuits. Oh, let's get an ATIS going there then. There ain't much else going on. So let's just do this. Thunder Bay. What's the weather doing in Thunder Bay? Let's get some Thunder Bay weather here. All right, somebody doing circuits. That's going to actually keep this a little interesting now. 290 at 11, gust 19. Ooh, she's a good one.
Winnipeg Center, good evening. This is Wasaya 129. We're currently on the ground in Thunder Bay requesting circuits.
Wasaya 129er, Winnipeg Center, good evening. Stand by just one moment, please. All right. And Wasaya 129er, it's going to be runway 25 for circuits today. Just put up information, Charlie. You can check on that. The altimeter in Thunder Bay is 2990, and your squawk code for the circuit's 1202.
Roger, we check for runway 25, 1206 for Wasaya 129.
And it's 1202 for the squawk code.
1202.
Wasaya 129er, that's all correct, and let me know when you're ready for taxi.
We'll go Wasaya 129, thanks.
All right, we've got some traffic, and circuits always keeps it interesting. Definitely won't fall asleep with guys doing circuits. Just going to get rid of the runway numbers again here because I just think they're way too big. And there we go. All right, so there's Thunder Bay. Not much to see on the terminal view, but what I can also do is just turn on the geography here. There you go. Just to give you a little bit of perspective on where he is in Thunder Bay. That gives me a little bit more sense of place, I think, having at least the shorelines up there. All right. Oh, my Air Canadas are slowly passing by Winnipeg themselves. All right, now we're going to have some interest at least. Anybody else want to do some circuits? Let's see if we can get two airplanes in the circuit at the same time at Thunder Bay.
And Center, Wasaya 129, we're at the hangar. Missing taxi 225.
Wasaya 129, runway 25, the altimeter 2990. And did you have information, Charlie?
Affirm Wasaya 129.
Wasaya 129, thank you. Taxi Delta Alpha, apron your discretion, and Bravo, hold short 25.
Delta Alpha, apron at discretion, Bravo, short of 25 for Wasaya 129.
Thunder Bay is one of those somewhat interesting airports too. It's busier than you think it would be for its location, mostly because it acts as a gateway to a lot of the other northern areas. So this whole northern Ontario region here, Thunder Bay is like a gateway to almost all these airports here. Wasaya especially, and then Bearskin Airlines as well. Operate to all the little airports in here and provide service to all the little airports, all the reserves, and the small little towns in this area. So Thunder Bay is kind of the base for all that, where they get out there. So Thunder Bay can often be a very busy airport. There's always lots of people changing, lots of airplanes or passengers transferring flights there. So it can be. It's not necessarily the case in VATSIM, but it can be quite a busy little airport because it's just a hub of the area there. So we'll get one guy at least going to do circuits, something of interest here. Because unfortunately the VATSIM data is still down. Still downloading it. It's now been almost an hour. It's been gone again. And if it's Cloudflare, well, I guess there's not much they can do about it other than complain to Cloudflare. But I mean, a complaint is valid because this is their whole business model. They should be actually keeping track of these things. What did I do? I think I recently flew an airplane to Thunder Bay, didn't I? I can't remember what I flew to Thunder Bay. Might have been my Canadian Express 320. Not too long ago, I flew an airplane up there. I thought it was kind of fun. I don't go there very much, and then so it was because I started controlling in Winnipeg recently. It was sort of at top of mind, so I thought I should go to this airport. Unfortunately, there was no ATC online at that point. So there goes the first Air Canada just through the southern part of the screen there, past Winnipeg. So that's the Winnipeg terminal view. That's the Winnipeg ground view. And back to my overview. There's Nolanor, another 20, 30 miles, and I will get him down, so. Now I should be able to see this guy on the ground here, so.
Winnipeg Air Canada 306, request 370, please.
Air Canada 306, that's approved. Climb flight level 370.
Climb 370, Canada 306, thank you.
There we go. I got rid of my errant airplane there. Alright, so Air Canada 306, climb to 370. Nolanor 950 Alpha Winnipeg. When ready, descend flight level 240.
Descend flight level 240, Nolanor 950 Alpha.
And JF says he flew Hamilton to Thunder Bay to Winnipeg today, and I'm an hour too late. I'm sorry. That's just my schedule. I wish I had been there to see it. It would have been nice to see some traffic, but it's just the way it is.
With 129, we're approaching 25, and we'll be able to take a departure of Bravo if possible.
We'll say a 129er is not a problem. You can call me mid right downwind with intentions. Winds are 290, 11, gust 19 from Bravo, clear takeoff, runway 25.
Close to takeoff 25 of Bravo, and we'll call you mid downwind for 129.
I wonder if there's a way I can silence that, or at least reduce that volume, and I bet there is. I just have to use my head sometimes. Can find what I'm looking for. Because there's still, I feel like there's still too much feedback on that frequency, and I know it's annoying to me to hear it, and I don't want you guys to hear it on the stream either, so I'm going to see if I can find a way to make it go away so that you'll only hear it once instead of hearing the echo and the feedback. So let's see if I can fix this here. Well, that Nolanor's not dropping like a rock. There. That may or may not work, I don't know. There goes Wasaya. Airborne right-hand circuits, always right-hand circuits on runway 25, because just like 3 miles south of the airport, there's a giant mountain in Thunder Bay. Not really a giant mountain, but it is a pretty big. It is a pretty big hill. It goes up to about, I forget, but I think it's almost 1,000 feet above the airport. So you don't want to do right. You don't want to do left-hand circuits. You definitely want to do. I say as he does the left-hand circuit. I would say a 129. Are you familiar with the terrain south of the field there in Thunder Bay?
Affirm, we'll say 129.
Okay, we'll say 129 as long as you know it's there. The left-hand circuit's approved then.
We'll watch out for the Sleeping Giant for 129.
I thought the Sleeping Giant was the name of the island in the middle of the lake there. I'm not a native of Thunder Bay, so I won't pretend to know it all. But I thought that was the name of this island out here. I thought this was the Sleeping Giant. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. I'm not from Thunder Bay. I used to go there for work a fair bit, but I haven't been there now for quite a while.
Center with 129. We're midfield downwind for 25. We'll be doing touch and go.
We'll say a 129er, roger the winds, Thunder Bay still, 290, 11, gust 19, you're cleared the touch and go, runway 25.
Clear touch and go 25 for 129.
Alright, that did not work. Let's try this. Nolanor 9050 Alpha, Winnipeg. Actually, stand by. No, he's north of. And Nolanor 9050 Alpha, you're cleared to descend out of controlled airspace in the vicinity of Rankin Inlet. Nolanor 9050 Alpha, Winnipeg.
950 Alpha, go ahead, sir.
Nolanor 9050 Alpha, you're cleared to descend out of controlled airspace in the vicinity of Rankin Inlet.
Further descend via Iron runway 13, sir. 950.
Nolanor 9050 Alpha, roger. There's Wasaya on the go. Alright, so it still is not super busy, but at least we got one airplane doing circuits, which is keeping it at least a little bit interesting here. I don't know when we're going to get anybody else done. I can't even check on any of the other data feeds because the data feeds are all down as well. So I can't even check, other than what I can see on the screen, I can't even check anything else to see when any of their airplanes are going to enter our airspace, which is just frustrating. Because it's a tool I use. I do use VATSIM and the like as a tool to try and just to try and make myself aware of what. Click something there, just to make myself aware of what other airplanes are coming and going, and before they even appear on my radar screen, because my radar screen has a limited visibility. It's pretty far, but if there's somebody just outside of it, you won't even see them on radar, and you won't see them in any of your lists because your lists are only based on who's on your radar screen. So it's a little frustrating anyways.
And Winnipeg Center was at 129. Midfield downwind for 25. It's going to be a full stop for us.
We'll say at 129er, roger. The wind's still showing 290, 11, gust 19, clear to land, runway 25.
Close to land, 25, was at 129.
I could actually pull up the live winds in Thunder Bay, I believe. Let me check. Yes, I can have live winds. And the winds are no longer gusty. Well. Now they're showing just 2 at 5 knots. Oh well. What are you going to do? Just very frustrating at this point that we're not going to be able to get any of this advertise it. And it must have been 10 minutes, less than 10 minutes before we logged on when the system went down. So it's still showing the information from then, so everyone can see that Edmonton was online then, Toronto was online then, Minneapolis was online. Those guys have all gone. We're here, but nobody knows that we're here. until they actually log onto the network. But by the time you've logged onto the network, you probably already picked where you're going to fly. Oh, how perfect was that? So, anyways, what can you do? This may not have been the best night for streaming. This may just be working out to be one of those nights. I mean, I appreciate you doing circuits there. You know, I'm not trying to be ungrateful for that, but nothing to do with VATCAN7, but blame him anyways. Yeah, I will blame VATCAN7. It's all his new website. It completely broke the internet. It's that new VATCAN website. Just broke everything. It's just... If we're not going to have too much ATC, there's not too much point to sticking around for a long period of time here, unfortunately. So I'm gonna stick it out for another hour here, and if nothing much has happened before then we'll definitely be getting out of here around 03 Zulu. I would originally plan to stay till midnight, but if it's going to be this dead, there's no point in continuing the stream for that long. So I'll give another hour to see if we can lure in some traffic. Normally, if we had those VATSIM data feeds working, I guarantee we'd have a couple airplanes. We'd have at least one airplane logged into Winnipeg by now, looking to go flying. But because we don't have that, nobody knows that Winnipeg's here, and nobody's thinking about Winnipeg at all, unfortunately.
Center 129. We're clear off runway 25 on Bravo, requesting taxi back to the hangar.
Wasaya 129er, taxi apron at your discretion, Alpha and Delta for the hangar. Thank you for the circuits.
Thanks for the service, taxiing apron, Alpha, Delta to the hangar. And are you doing Montreal Center also?
Say that again?
Do you do Montreal Center sometimes?
I do sometimes, yep.
Oh, okay, cool. Probably see you one day on Montreal Center.
Very good.
Have a good night.
Yeah, I am slowly but surely making my way across all of Canada, so this is going to be... and I was thinking about this, actually. It was something that I was thinking about, that if you can work all the ATC sectors in Canada, I was thinking about having like a one-man event at some point, where I provide like 90 minutes, where I go from one sector to the next and provide 90 minutes of service in each sector. And the whole idea is to sort of like give somebody a chance to fly all the way across Canada with the same controller, tracking them from one airspace to the next, just as a sort of, I don't know, like a sort of a marathon event for me as a controller. It would be, there's 5 different, there's 6 different domestic FIRs, so, you know, if you spend 90 minutes in each one, that would still be a 6-hour event, which is probably about as much time as I'm going to ever spend online at one go. It's doable, though. I don't know. I was just sort of spitballing, like, what can you do now to sort of celebrate the fact that you can control almost all the way across Canada, and we're actually going to make sure we get all of Canada very soon. And we'll continue to provide... some... what am I trying to say here? Continue to provide that ATC coverage anyways, in different places, and give you different streams as well in different places, so you can see what it's like to control different sectors in Canada all the time. So now they're going to cross the boundary here into Minneapolis airspace, but they're going to be right back in our airspace, and there's no Minneapolis controller anyway, so we're just going to keep them on our frequency for now, and then we'll have to hand them off to Unicom when they get to the other end there. There's one guy over here. I think that's about where Fort Mac is. Do I have Fort Mac defined in here? Nope. Nothing much. There's so much information. Winnipeg is such a big sector. There's not much information to find outside of Winnipeg, unfortunately. We wanted Phil to do a Canada wideband box for CTP. Oh yeah, I'm sure they would love that. We should have that. Well, I said that a while ago. I said we should have a like a Canada control, like they have Euro control, where you cover almost all the country, but only the high level sector, just to handle the overflights. But I think that would be an interesting thing to try and do for some of the higher rated controllers, to allow them to control like an even wider swath of Canada, but the high level only, not dealing with the low level stuff. So you'd just be dealing with a lot of people in crews, and I think that would, I don't know, it strikes me as it would be the en route sections by themselves could be pretty boring, and especially Canada being such a huge country with relatively little traffic across it. There is not much going on here. Um, Even if we were covering, an extra 2 or 3 sectors, it would still be just very, very uneventful, I think. To me, the more fun is the down low, is dealing with aircraft landing and taking off. That's the fun part, because things are actually happening. Aircraft are usually closer together near the airports in the en route airspace. Oftentimes you'll go whole sections where you won't have to, resolve a single conflict in the en route airspace. And tonight seems to be one of those nights where there's not going to be any conflicts at all en route. But then sometimes it surprises you. You will get some conflicts here and there. All right. Nolanor 950 Alpha, you're now descending out of controlled airspace. Your radar service terminates. Switch to Unicom 122.8. Have a good night.
Thank you very much. 122.8. See you next time, sir.
Bye-bye. And now the other controllers are saying, "Ooh, somebody's on Winnipeg Center," and I just told them it's basically pretty big snooze right now, unfortunately. Does not help that this VATSIM network is down, or that the data feed is down, because nobody knows that we're there. We were about 10 minutes too late logging on, and then by the time we logged on, now it's shown Winnipeg as being logged off and nobody's there, and so nobody's going to choose to fly it, I don't think. I think we're going to... Greetings, 32214, greetings. Thank you for tuning in, and if you're in Germany, I guess it's morning now for you, isn't it? Hold on. You're, what, 3... Is it 3:10 in the morning there now? 4:10? Why are you awake? And I don't mean that to be rude, but just why are you awake? It's way later than I would have thought most people in Germany would be awake. Oh, those insomniac computer pilots. Well, we got these two guys. In about 40 minutes, we're going to hand them off to Unicom, and that'll be it for us. At the rate we're going, we got zero traffic and no hope of any traffic coming in unless I convince you guys on stream to do it, because what a disappointment, because Winnipeg is not a place people think of. And I will always defend it and say that if there's control there, people will log in and fly it. I see lots of people log in there and fly it when there's controllers, but nobody knows there's a controller online, and that's what's bugging the heck out of me. I have a hard time setting aside time in my schedule to stream. I really do. And then it just sucks when you finally get a chance to stream and nothing's going to happen because I can't even get the word out that we're online. 4:11. Oh, you're already up. You have to work. You are worse than my wife. And I mean that in the best way possible. Actually, no, my wife, when she has to go to work, she has to be up earlier than that. She is, she gets up at 2:30 in the morning to go to work. 2:30 in the morning. Absolutely ridiculous. Nobody should ever have to get up that early to go to work. Hopefully it won't stay that way for too much longer. Part of it is just shifts got a lot worse because of the pandemic. The shifts got a lot worse than they used to be. We did get the Rankin Inlet updated weather there for 0200 Zulu. At least that's working. So I got these two guys. I got nobody on my inbound list. I got no departures. I got nothing. I feel like once I hand those guys to Unicom, that's going to be it. I don't think anything else is going to happen, unfortunately. Oh, well, can't be there every day for an event. I will say that Cross the Pond was a pretty good turnout this year. I was pretty impressed with the way it worked. It was you know, if you haven't already watched my stream, I did live stream it, and it is archived here on my channel, so you can go back and you can watch it from last weekend. The live stream I did about 4 hours, 2 hours on the northern Toronto sector, and then another hour and a half on the eastern Toronto sector. So the northern Toronto sector was a lot of fun actually, because it was mostly overflights. It started out really slow because I was first shift, so I was online before the event even really started. It was about 30 minutes into my shift before the wave of traffic started to hit, and it was pretty good. They were most of the traffic was fairly well spaced. One thing I'll say was the traffic was not overwhelming, certainly for the en route sector there. I had basically two major streams I had to deal with up north, both of them on their way to Chicago, as well as some other random traffic that was out there. And probably on average there was about 50 miles between the different airplanes going to Chicago. They kind of came in little bursts here and there, but on average over the whole thing there was about 50 miles between, which is plenty. Lots of room to get a lot of arrivals into Chicago. And the second route had almost nothing on it. The second route was mostly, I think, just the ones that just came from Rome going to Chicago. Almost everybody else got the northern route. So it was really super quiet. It wasn't super quiet. It was steady, but it was more than manageable. There was the airplanes were not so close together that you couldn't create a nice spacing out of them. Even when they were bunched up, there was lots of slack on either side to space them out. So that was the fun challenge. It was trying to get them all spaced out. The east sector was a little bit more work because you were also getting the initial descent into Toronto and then handing them off to the terminal controllers. So it was a little bit more work, but it wasn't like ridiculous amount of work. Again, the airplanes were spaced out far enough apart that at no point was it overwhelming. At no point where the planes just like one right after another back to back with no chance of even building a little bit of extra space because the next plane is so close behind. There was plenty of room to work with. So it was steady, but it was definitely, from my perspective, I could have definitely gone 10 to 20% more traffic without having a real impact on my personal performance anyways. Like I could have definitely handled that. I don't know that all the sectors could have done that. The way the traffic flows through different sectors, and different sectors have different amounts of traffic for different amounts of time. Some people probably were a little more saturated than I was, but I definitely felt like I could have dealt with about 20 to 30% more. Yeah, it's very frustrating, and it seems like just the last couple days I've noticed that the VATSIM data servers have been down a lot. It seems like at least once a day they seem to go down. Just very frustrating, because it was literally 10 minutes before my stream. So nobody knows that Winnipeg's here, and nobody will. And I may just, after these Air Canada guys reach the end of my airspace, I may pull the plug on this stream then, because there's literally nothing happening. And I don't think anything's going to. Unless I see somebody log in, somebody show up that's going to cross my airspace soon, I may just pull the plug, because otherwise you guys just be staring at dead air. Oh well. I had fun across the pond, though. I thought Across the Pond was well done. And I definitely am looking forward to doing it again in the fall. I try to do more events, but the way they work out, personally, my schedule just never seems to... they just always seem to be kind of opposite. But let's see here. This week, coming up on VATCAN, there's the second best airports crossfire between Edmonton and Portland. Unfortunately, it's a little bit earlier in the evening, which is just like, it's kind of the worst swath for me, right through the dinner bedtime hour, spending time with the kids in the evening and putting them to bed. And I kind of was contemplating that, because that'd be a great chance to get online and even stream that, but I think it's a little bit too far for a stream if it was an hour, I could probably squeeze it in. But come on, Simbrief, how long is it from Edmonton to Portland? Either way, I don't think it's going to happen. But I did have a plan actually to do a stream on Sunday anyway, so if anybody's interested, I was going to do a stream over my Twitch channel. I was going to do my Pilot's Life, the next leg of my Pilot's Life stream, which is going to be Puerto Vallarta back up to Victoria. So that's, again, a pretty long stream. It's about a probably about a 4.5 hour flight, I think. So it'll probably be about a 5 to 5.5 hour stream. So I'm going to start fairly early on Sunday, probably between 13 and 14 Zulu. I'll get underway anyways. My goal is to sort of start the stream around 13:30 Zulu and hopefully get underway by 1400 Zulu, and then fly straight up there. And I will have a challenge this time around, actually. I'm going to try and put this out there that if I can get 10 concurrent viewers on my Twitch stream, if I can get 10 people watching my Twitch stream at the same time, if everyone agrees to it, I will set up a random failure on my PMDG 737. I'll just click the random failure button, and whatever fails, we'll deal with it. If we have to divert halfway back to Victoria to somewhere else because of the nature of the emergency, then so be it. But I love the fact that PMDG has service-based failures, but they just don't happen often enough. As silly as that is, but they don't. I mean, the equipment is too reliable. It doesn't break very often. So I would like to see. I had one, I've probably put, a couple hundred hours anyways into PMDG 737s, and I've had one service-based failure in the 737. So I would love to see a few more, but since nothing seems to be happening, I might trigger a random failure. If I can get 10 people watching my stream, then I'll trigger a random failure in the PMDG 37 and just deal with it. Run the QRH, and then do some pilot decision making, because I did that with, like I said, it was probably about 2 months ago. I had something fail on stream, and it was great. I thought it was great fun. Really kind of added some variety instead of just sort of sitting there and snoring away in cruise and chatting. I mean, the chatting's always great, but just something else to do, something of interest. So that's my goal. So if you haven't already got me on Twitch, it's twitch.tv/CaptainNabs, CAPTNABS. And I'll be streaming there on Sunday morning, and into the afternoon. So I challenge you guys to bring me 10 viewers at the same time, which is not that many, but this channel's not huge. I know you guys, the people who watch the channel, like it, but I know it's not huge. But and I think we can get 10 people online. Anyways, my goals are not overly ambitious in this world. But if I can get 10 people online, I will fail something, and we will just deal with it. And if we have to divert, if we lose an engine and we just got to land at the nearest suitable airport, then that's what we will do. Hopefully it'll be one with good scenery. Maybe I'll try and time it so it's somewhere near Phoenix at least. Because that default scenery in P3D is pretty brutal. I mean, at least at Microsoft Flight Simulator, it's not bad. I can deal with it in Microsoft Flight Simulator, but in P3D, it's brutal. I can't deal with default airports anymore. I just can't. I've gotten enough payware airports. I've enjoyed enough payware airports that I need to. I just need to have payware airports. I can't deal with freeware airports anymore. Not in the P3D world. In Microsoft Flight Simulator, I'm okay with it right now. Although there are more and more slowly coming our way. There's better and better airports coming all the time. Flightbeam has a sale. I think it might have ended now, actually, if anybody's interested. It might have ended. They were having a across the pond sale, but they were selling anything. They had a sale that's 30% off anything. I think it might have ended now. Yeah, I think their sale ended, unfortunately. Sorry. I think it ended like yesterday. I do like Flightbeam scenery, so that I picked up the Washington Dulles, so I'm going to do a flight to that eventually. I'm looking forward to doing some streams with that CRJ. That's going to be fun too. I don't know that I'll be able to do more than one ATC stream a week, though I would like to, but I don't think I can. But I'd be curious to also see you guys. If you're not my Discord, go join the Discord now. I do get. I did open up the chat channel to allow everyone to chat. I was sort of reserving it for people who had subscribed through Twitch or YouTube, but honestly, not that many people have done it there, and I'd like to hear some feedback from people on what you'd like to see on in terms of the channel. I had one person tell me they want to see another Dash 8 flight, that they haven't seen me fly the Dash 8 in a while, and I think that's actually not a bad idea. Go back into P3D and fly that Dash 8 around a little bit, just for fun, because that's a great airplane. The Majestic Dash 8's a great airplane. I had tons of fun with it. I actually did take it out a couple times in the last week or so, and I found that I've actually gotten really bad at landing it because I just haven't flown it much lately. So I need to get back into that airplane. But in terms of my next ATC, stream, because I'll probably be doing one flight and one ATC stream a week. It's probably about all I have time for. I don't know what I'm going to do for my next ATC stream though after Winnipeg, so I'm always taking suggestions. I'm thinking maybe Toronto, just because Toronto's almost always busy, regardless, regardless almost of the time of day or anything. Toronto is always busy. It's the perennial favorite, especially in Canada. It's just the one in Canada people think of, right up there with Vancouver, Montreal, Calgary as well, even. Winnipeg is just not one people think of, and if they see you online, they will gladly come in and log in. But if they don't see you online, they may not log in, and that's what I find happens a lot, is that people just don't log in. And because I still have not got the data server up, still not up. It's been down for an hour and 15, almost an hour and a half now. It's still nothing. So these guys are reaching the end of the airspace here. Another 40 minutes at most, if even that. And then we'll drop them to Unicom, and that will be it. Because this will probably go down as one of the most boring ATC streams ever. Oy. Yeah, the Majestic Q400 is it. Yeah, the Majestic Q400 is realistic. At the end of the day, it's quite realistic. So it is a complicated airplane. It is out of the airplanes I've flown, it's probably one of the most complicated to operate. Yes, I mean, Airbus is the complete polar opposite. I mean, you don't do anything in an Airbus as far as systems are concerned. But the Dash 8, especially the Q400, and the thing with the Q400 is that the Q400 suffers from the same problem as the 737 MAX does. Common type rating. When they were designing the Q400, yeah, no, exactly. But everything's down. You don't have to update VATSIM, because even if you go and check, SimAware, map.vatsim.net, it's down as well. It's still showing the old date as well. So, yeah, the thing about the Q400 is that when de Havilland was developing it, I can't remember if they were Bombardier by that point or not, but whether it was Bombardier or de Havilland, when they were developing it, the operators told them, we want a bigger airplane. We want a bigger Dash 8, but we want a common type rating. We want to keep our pilots, we want a modern version, but we want the common type rating. So a lot of that system stuff is a throwback to what they call the classic dashes, the 100, 200, 300 dashes. So, they could have automated those systems. They could have made the airplane better when they updated the avionics and everything and created this nice avionics package. But if they'd done that, there was a good chance they were going to have to do a separate type rating for the Q400 instead of a common type rating. So operators that were operating a lot of Dash 8 300s that were looking to upgrade to the Q400s didn't need to do as much retraining to get people into the Q400. But that's why it's an old-fashioned airplane, because it's built on those old-fashioned dashes. So yeah, as far as I'm concerned, it's probably, out of all the airplanes I've ever flown, it probably has the longest checklists. The checklists are ridiculous. And then you get in an Airbus or an Embraer, and you've got like a 5 or 6 item checklist, and like the longest checklist is like 6 items long. But in the Dash 8, the longest checklist was like 18 or 20 items long. Like it was ridiculous. I don't know. Bombardier no longer owns the Dash 8 line. I think they sold it to Viking, I think. Yes. So, because Bombardier just hemorrhaging money left, right, and center after the C-Series debacle, and they just cannot seem to make money. So, the Dash 8 program, the entire Dash 8 program was sold to Longview Aviation Capital Corporation, which is the parent of Viking Air Limited. So that's the company that I believe bought the rights to the Twin Otter from Bombardier like 5 or 10 years ago. So it's yeah. I don't know. I don't know if they're going to do anything more with it. You can't really stretch. I'll say this though: you cannot stretch the Q400 much longer than you already do. It's already a huge tail strike hazard because of the length of that fuselage. That airplane is much. It's along the same lines as the 737 Max. You've probably reached about the most you're ever going to do with that airplane. In terms of lengthening it, you can try and cram more seats inside, and I think they've got like some really narrow seats where they can get like 80 to 90 passengers in there. But in terms of lengthening the fuselage, they couldn't lengthen it much more unless they start raising the gear, because it's a huge tail strike hazard as it is. The tail strike angle is about 7 degrees in that airplane. So when you're pitched up to 7 degrees, if your wheels are not off the ground, you're probably going to strike the tail, which is unfortunate. But it makes it very... I don't think they could stretch it much more if they wanted to. I don't know if they're going to do anything. I'm just sort of speed reading through an article here about the purchase, but yeah, I don't think Viking knows quite what they're going to do with it in the long run. I'm sure they probably have some ideas, but I don't know. It's a good airplane. The Q400, even the way it is a good airplane. I don't think they could make it much longer, but they could still sell them. It's very fuel efficient. Operating a turboprop uses about half the fuel of a jet for the same kind of distances. So, yeah. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know if they're going to, release like an updated version. It's interesting. I don't think they've talked too much about what they want to do in the future with the Dash 8 line. Yeah. No, I think they were doing. Yeah, I think they were doing a. I know they were trying to do a certification. I think they did get it certified for 90 passengers, in certain markets. Anyways, it's not a big. It would be so cramped. I don't think a lot of Canadian operators would really want to buy that airplane with 90 passengers in it. Trouble with 90 passengers too is then you're supposed to get a third flight attendant, and then that adds a whole bunch more cost to it as well. The only thing Bombardier manufactures now is their business jet line. The business jet lines have always been kind of they've always been very profitable for them. So the Challenger lines and the Global Express lines, those have always been very profitable to them, and they've kept the company going for a long time, even when they were hemorrhaging money trying to get the C Series up and running. And the C Series was basically what almost bankrupted Bombardier. They could not get enough customers to get any fraction of the development cost back, because they just I'm not really sure why. I think a part of it is Boeing and Airbus really kind of flexed their marketplace muscle and elbowed them out of the market until Airbus finally bought them for $1. They bought the whole program for $1. They took all the debt, but they bought the program for $1. So like, they got a huge deal at the end of the day with the C Series, because the C Series is a great airplane, but just the airlines didn't necessarily believe in it because they just weren't sure that Bombardier was ready to provide like worldwide services to a jet operator. You got to have like a worldwide network of parts and service locations that really help make sure the customers can keep those airplanes up in the air as much as possible. So I think a lot of people just didn't think that Bombardier had the network behind them to keep the airplane going. It was a good airplane, but they just didn't believe that Bombardier had the network to support it after the sales. I think that was where they fell down. So unfortunately, Bombardier lost all that money, and they kept on losing money, and so they end up having to sell almost all of their business to try and repay that debt and get back in the black. So all they make now is business jets. They sold the CRJ, they sold the C Series, they sold the Dash 8s now. All they make now is business jets, the Challenger and the Global Express. So it's a bit of a pity, because I think it would have been a fantastic airplane. I saw the mock-up. I've seen it fly. It's super quiet. It's super efficient. I've flown in it a couple times, and it's a nice airplane. It's
just a shame the way everything happened, and it just ended up costing Bombardier a little bit more money than they really were able to afford, and Airbus got a deal as a result. I wonder if anybody's going to bring a really good copy of the C series, or the what is it now? The A220 is what it's called now, to Microsoft Flight Simulator, perhaps. Because there's a very modern airplane, a lot like the Dreamliner in a lot of ways, like very, very modern flight deck, huge screens, you know, very electronic, a lot of electronic systems. So, again, it's fun. It's funny because like it's probably not that hard of an airplane to fly because it's so automated. It's such a they just took a blank slate and said, what can we do to make this the most modern, user-friendly airplane we can come up with, and that's what they did. Any chance of data service back up yet? Nope. It's going to be the whole 2 hours of my stream that data service is going to be down for. What a pity. These guys are probably falling asleep waiting for me to say something. Well, so much for Winnipeg Center. Next time I get the bright idea to stream Winnipeg Center, better make sure that the data feeds are working first. Oh well. I'll do my shameless plug, of course. If you're trying to fly that Majestic Q, have you seen my systems videos? Because I teach you a lot about how to work the airplane through those systems videos, if you've seen them. If you haven't, go look at my channel. I've got the systems videos all set up for you. Most boring stream ever. No, a lot of operators have been getting rid of the Dash 8s. There's a lot of countries where they're getting a little bit hard to find. Yeah, I heard that Austrian was getting rid of their Dash 8s. So yeah, I don't think there's a whole lot of operators. Flybe obviously went out of business, so there's a lot of Dash 8s on the market if anyone wants to buy one. There is good scenery for Winnipeg, actually. There is for both P3D and Microsoft Flight Simulator. P3D is a little bit hard to find because it's not any of your normal developers, but the developer's called Sim Add-ons, and he makes a lot of good Canadian scenery. It's not, it's not one of your normal developers. It's not the highest quality scenery in the world. It's not bad. It's better than default for sure. But if you've never seen Sim Add-ons, they do make some scenery for. They'd make only Canadian airports. The interesting thing is that they generally make it in a big pack. So you end up buying about 6 or 7 airports, but for the price, it's a little bit expensive. But you get 6 or 7 airports for it. So on average per airport, it's actually not too bad. I've liked the scenery. I don't like it so much for Microsoft Flight Simulator. I kind of saw it for Microsoft Flight Simulator. It's not that good in Microsoft Flight Simulator. Microsoft Flight Simulator set the bar so much higher. He sort of just exported the scenery he had made in P3D, which was not bad, but the textures just are, when you put them into Microsoft Flight Simulator, they look kind of bland and they're just not detailed enough. So, but I think somebody else did Winnipeg in Microsoft Flight Simulator. Trying to see here. Yes. This FSX scenery guy just churns out tons and tons of scenery, and he did Winnipeg. It's not bad looking. It's not the best scenery I've ever seen, but it doesn't look too bad. And the default scenery is not great. Again, in MSFS, it's not terrible, but it's not great. So this guy did the, and he doesn't charge too much either. 12 euros for the scenery. It's the one thing is, like, he turns out a lot of it. He just uses a lot of default textures, but like improves the building models, customized building models and things like that. And they're not necessarily all default textures. A lot of it, I think, is just photographs and satellite and Google Maps and things like that. I'm pretty sure they don't go to every airport. But I believe that the guy who does this also is a charitable organization. All the proceeds he makes from scenery sales, I think, go to a charity. So it's not a bad. Yeah, I had all 3 packs in P3D, and they were great because they really kind of finished off. They really kind of provided a lot of market for P3D. They really kind of covered a lot of areas that were underdone. But yeah, that's the thing, is that he imported like the same models into MSFS, just recompiled them for MSFS, and it's like it doesn't really cut it in the MSFS world. The bar has been set higher. You've got to go back and really improve those textures. I think his models are fine, but I think he's got to go back and really improve the texturing to really fit into the MSFS world. So I'm not going to spend money on those, unfortunately, now. Which is a pity, because he's a super nice guy, and I want to support him, but I don't feel like that's going to be worth it until he goes back and really kind of redoes those airports again. And I feel like a lot of people have done that. A lot of people have taken just like P3D scenery, re-imported it into the MSFS and charged, $12, $15 for it. It's like, you gotta provide some value for the money. So, but yeah, like this Winnipeg on Sim Market here, like I might the FSX scenery, I might pick that one up at some point because it's pretty good. Better than default. It's got custom signs and scenery, and the terminal building actually looks decent. I think he ends up using a lot of default textures on custom models, I think, is what. So it's not fantastic. But for 12 euros, it shouldn't be too bad. Better than the default. That's the way I look at it at the beginning. Yeah, I mean, it's not great. But I do like sim add-ons for P3D because, like I said, like it just really kind of finished the Canada collection for me. They're one of the few developers that actually made a lot of airports in Canada. Now FSIM Studios is around, and they're doing quite a lot of airports in Canada. But before FSIM Studios really did much work, sim add-ons was there filling in that gap for us, for those of us that fly Canada. All right, there he goes. Air Canada 314, Winnipeg. Here, leave my airspace to the east. Toronto's not online. Radar service terminates. Switch to Unicom 122.8 and have a great night.
Service to Unicom, Air Canada 314. Bye-bye.
And one more to go. He's about 10 minutes behind. 5 minutes behind. So in about 5 minutes, if nothing else happens, and I don't think anything's going to, we're going to probably cut this stream because it's just, there is no point to me being here. There really is not. I'm sorry, guys, and I'm really kind of disappointed, and I think you guys probably are too. It just was not the evening I was hoping for. I was hoping for a little bit more activity, and I think if we'd been on the data feed and people had seen we were online, we would have gotten something. I mean, a big thank you to Flying Canuck for doing circuits for me. for 10 minutes, I had some activity. He did 2 circuits and parked at the hangar, and that was it. But you know what? That's better than nothing. Better than nothing. Take what you can get in this life, right? Oh well. A little bit of a contrast from last weekend's Cross the Pond, that's for sure. But yeah, so if anybody is around on Sunday, I'll be streaming on Sunday. If you're not around until later in the day, between 2100 and 0100 Zulu on Sunday night. Is that Sunday night or is that Saturday night? Hold on a second. Yeah, no, that's Sunday night. On Sunday night, there's a crossfire happening between Edmonton and Portland, so that will be fun. I never did calculate what that time was, did I? I was going to calculate the time. I'm not going to be able to do it anyways, but I'm curious, just for sake of anybody watching. Edmonton to Portland is give or take about a 2 hours airtime. Depends on the type of airplane, obviously, but most jets probably be doing about an hour 45 to 2 hours airtime, so it's not too bad of a flight. You probably won't get both directions in that evening, but you'll get one direction at least. So, what else is coming up on VATCAN? Anything else? Moncton Monday. And Moncton Monday's having a featured airport this week, next week. They're going to be featuring St. John, New Brunswick, which is definitely one that gets kind of underutilized. So that'll be interesting. And then let's see here. Vancouver online, 4 straight hours of guaranteed ATC, May 7th. May 7th starting at 23:59 Zulu, so 7 p.m. Eastern time. I don't know what that works out to everybody, but sorry, 8 p.m. Eastern time. Featuring all sorts of airports throughout the Vancouver FIR, but the whole FIR, Vancouver FIR, will be lit up on May the 7th. What is that? That is Friday. So Friday night, next Friday night, the whole Vancouver FIR is going to be lit up. And then coming up later in the month as well, on the 11th of May, is a crossfire between Montreal and Bradley Field down in the Boston FIR. So that'll probably generate some traffic. Boston never fails to pack them in, that's for sure. And of course, tomorrow is Friday. Tomorrow's an FNO. Fat USA has not even scheduled an FNO. I don't know who's doing this anymore, but it seems like they're getting a little lazier. But there's not even anything listed, so I'm going to assume basically it's taking up the format of an open mic night at this point. There he is. Moncton Monday is the reason I bought the St. Allen's pack. Yeah, absolutely. There's the only ones that have made good airport for the East Coast in Canada, unfortunately. And there's plenty of good airports out there. I think somebody did make another St. John's now. There was another developer that made St. John's, but yeah, you could get, and that was the thing, was you could get all of like the East Coast and cover everything and go St. John's to Moncton over to Halifax, you know. I think did they do Charlottetown as well? I think Sydney. They did a bunch of airports out there, so you could do like all sorts of kind of regional flying out there on a Moncton Monday and get covered by one purchase. So yeah, that was I like their add-on pack, and I made a lot of good use of it back in the day, but haven't been using it as much now that I'm more in Microsoft Flight Simulator. But sort of split my time between the two sims. I was looking at it today, and I've already logged, according to Steam, 700 hours of Microsoft Flight Simulator since it was released, which is probably too much time to have logged for a game that's been out by 8 months. That's 100 hours a month almost. Way too much time online. Way too much time flying virtual airplanes, but probably more time flying virtual airplanes in the past 6 months than real airplanes. And there's a sad statement. Air Canada 306 Heavy at Winnipeg. You leave my airspace to the east. Your radar service terminates. Toronto's not online. Switch to Unicom 122.8 and have a good rest of your night.
122.8 Air Canada 306. Good night.
And that's it. I have no airplanes. I have nothing to do. And I've run out of things to say, I think. So I appreciate you guys watching. What can I say? It was not as active as I would have liked, but what can you do? That data feed server being down really just kills it. People will log in if they see you're there, but nobody can see that I'm there. So, unfortunately, that's it. I have no inbounds. I have no aircraft waiting to depart. I have nothing. So, I'm going to check out now, guys. I appreciate those of you that did watch, those of you that did chat, and I hope you still had fun, even though it was a little bit of a bust for me, I think. But stay tuned. I will try to do a different sector next time. I think next time I'm going to revert to Toronto just because it's busy by default, even if the data feed server's down. So, in the meantime, if you haven't, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Make sure you follow me on Twitch as well, twitch.tv/CaptainNabs, CAPTNABS, and I will be doing my live stream on Sunday morning of my flight from Puerto Vallarta back up to Victoria. So join me for that, and next weekend I'll do some kind of an ATC stream from Toronto. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it.